Yep, another video about the new Mavic 2 Pro. Really just a quick follow-up to the one I did last week, and we've got a few questions about picture quality, not least because I got something wrong last week. I said it could do 422 and it can only do 420. That's chroma subsampling. But I want to show you why I don't think that's altogether a bad thing. I've ended up with three questions about this. Number one, can you see a visible difference between H.264 and H.265? Number two, if you're shooting a project in HD, is it better to shoot it in HD or is it better to shoot it in 4K and then downsample it in the edit? Which looks better at the final result? And number three, is it worth shooting D-Log if all you're going to do is grade the pictures to look like normal pictures? Shouldn't you just shoot normal mode? Firstly, it might be useful to clear up exactly what are the specs of this Hasselblad camera. 10-bit is only available when you're shooting H.265, and the Hyperlog Gamma and the D-Log modes require that 10-bit. Every other mode on this camera is 420 8-bit. Only the 4K and the 4K HQ modes are actually 100 megabits per second. HD is just 35 megabits per second, and 2.7K is a more reasonable 50 megabits per second. So back to the first question about H.264 versus H.265. I've got a couple of comparisons here. Firstly, in standard HD mode, and I can't see a difference. 4K HQ obviously looks better, but when we compare it 264 to 265, again I can't see a difference. Zooming into 400%, again on HD, and there's a big difference between the 4K here, but between the 264 and 265, I can't see it. The second question was all about whether it was better to shoot HD for HD projects or 4K and then downsample later. So I've shot the same scene again in HD and 4K and then 4K HQ. All of this has been rendered as HD, even though this is a 4K video. And then looking at the same thing again with a 400% scale, you can see there is a difference. And that difference is huge with the 4K HQ. If we look at the chart, you can see there's a massive difference in resolution between HD and the 4K HQ, even though the whole project's been rendered as HD. And finally, the third question was, is it worth shooting log if all you're going to do is grade the pictures back to a Rec 709 or normal looking profile? Here's the same 4K image again, shot both as a normal profile and also D-Log. It's been graded with the DJI LUT and it looks very similar. Clearly you're meant to add your own sharpening to taste. You can see the problem when you zoom in to 400% again. The normal picture actually looks better than the D-Log. You can get a closer match with a bit of sharpening, but unless you're going for a particular look, I'm not sure if D-Log actually looks as good. There's definitely a point to D-Log, especially if you need wide dynamic range, but unless you're prepared to put the work in, you may end up with pictures that look worse than the normal profile. It's really difficult showing the subtle picture differences on a YouTube video because of all the extra compression you get. But basically my take on all of this is I'll probably be shooting the vast majority of my work definitely in 4K HQ mode. It's by far the best, even if you're delivering your projects in HD. Do the down conversion on your edit. But also I'm likely to be shooting more normal color mode than D-Log. Yes, it might be 8-bit, but to my eyes it looks better. And if you don't need the cinematic grade and you don't need 14 stops of dynamic range, why not go for the best looking profile?